Okay, welcome everybody. So tonight, we've been looking forward to tonight's training for a long time because we felt like it was something that we had never actually touched on. And it's something that most of us directors, we know to do and we did. And it was like, how did this kind of slip through our hands? Like, it is such a great topic. So this is going to be entitled, if you go back to watch it, it is going to be titled, Get Out of Your Lane. And the reason it is titled that is because we want to teach you how not to just sell and team build in your generation, like who you are. So if you are a stay-at-home mom, you don't want to get a unit full of stay-at-home moms. If you are selling to just stay-at-home moms, there are things that happen throughout the year that different generations, different personalities, people in different, I don't even want to say demographics, but they get distracted, and they get busy. And I'm going to give you some of those scenarios. And I learned this lesson really early on in my Mary Kay career when I was just meeting all these stay-at-home moms, and come summertime, like, I didn't hear from them. Like, okay, where are they? Well, they were busy with their kids like I was. Or come Christmas, you didn't hear from them because they were busy, getting everybody ready for Christmas and their kids were home. Or spring break. Didn't hear from them during spring break. And so what I learned, just like Mary Kay always talked to us about building your unit in 10 geographic areas, you want to build your customer base and unit with all the generations: Gen Y, Gen X, Gen Z, baby boomers. We're going to talk about how do you meet those people, and we're going to talk a lot about what are some of the distractions that they see, so that when you have a little bit of all of it, it kind of comes together to form that consistency in your in your business, whether it's the customer base, or your team. All right, so first of all, and with me, and I'll say this, because I had kids, and there's a gap. There's like, from my oldest to my youngest, there's a 12-year gap. And so now that my older boys are out of the house, and I still have, a high schooler, a ninth grader, and I still have elementary, I feel like I've had two sets of families. And so I can relate to two different generations, believe it or not, because there's a generation that has my younger kids, their age. And so I've watched how this method that I've used for 20 years has really formed like I said, the consistency in my business, so that I always can maintain that paycheck that I need. All right, so first of all, let's talk baby boomers. All right, baby boomers are the age of 57 to 75.
What's the plan?
And, hang on, let me see if I can mute everybody out. If you are not on mute, go ahead and mute out. Thank you so much. All right, so baby boomers are the age of 57 to 75. They were born between 1946 and 1964. There are roughly about 71 million of them, okay? So I actually heard our former vice president of sales, Sean Keys, tell a national sales director that she needed to build in other areas because her unit was too old, and they would not outlive her. And so that was where I first heard something like this, and knew to make sure that I watched my business with this. So baby boomers, if you only build your customer base and your team with the baby boomers, they will not outlive you. They will not outlast you. They get sick. When they get sick, they don't order. They stop wearing their makeup, or they stop working. They have a sick spouse. They just have they're in the season of their life where they have, this is their issue. They might even have aging parents that they're having to take care of. But they have money. They usually have a lot of money. So that's the good thing. And they're really They're really flexible, okay? So those are just some of my takes. I love my baby boomer customers. They love all of our anti-aging products. They spend the money. I love it, love it, love it. But unfortunately, you will have, they won't outlast you. All right, so let's talk about the Gen Y. All right, Gen Y, that's the age of 41 to 56. So they were born in between 1965 and 1980. And there are 65 million of us. I'm a Gen Y, okay? So the baby boomers, up until the millennials came around, the baby boomers were the biggest generation. I'll tell you something about the baby boomers. They are very courteous and loyal and respectful. And I just really enjoy spending time with the baby boomers. A lot of times, all the other generations down, they've lost that loyalty to someone, shop local, buy from the local family, because the baby boomers, they had it hard and they worked hard for their money. And you guys know all about the baby boomers, so I'm not going to get into that. So let's go to the Gen X. So the Gen X, they still get busy with their kids. Some are starting to have grandkids. They get distracted during summer, spring break, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. Okay, those are their distracted times, and they get tapped out if they're in the younger, where they still have the teenage kids. They get tapped out with money because kids are expensive, and so I can tell when we're not in those seasons. My Gen Xers spend more money, but they don't spend more money during summer or Christmas. And it's they are very they take care of everybody else before they take care of themselves during that time. So that's some of the issues with Gen X. Gen Y. So Gen Y, you guys know they're born 1981 through 1994/96. But I'm going to break them apart in two groups, because if you read anything about the millennials and which is Gen Y, they go from age 26 to 40. They're on two different spectrums. They're either just getting out of college, looking for a job, still living with their parents, or they're just starting their families, okay, in that 40s. And so those are two totally different ways of life. And so I'm going to do my best to kind of talk to you about them. And then we're going to talk about how do you meet all these different generations, okay? This has been probably the hardest for me to go out and find. But what I've found is, through all my other generations, the baby boomers, Gen X, it happened organically. And where I used to say, I don't want to deal with them, I don't care for them, now I love them. Like the ones that are in my unit, I love them so much. And I have a whole new respect. And I know there are some bad apples. There's some bad apples in every generation. But what they have, that Gen Y, will say Gen YA, okay? They're the younger ones. They're the ones just getting out of college. They really, a lot of times, haven't found their why. And so they don't tend to have a lot of loyalty and commitment. And that was, I think, always my frustration with that age group, and the millennials. When you've got the Y, we'll say Gen YB group, they're the ones that have found their careers, settled down, started their families. Their issues are they've got young babies. They're trying to juggle. This is all new. You remember what it was like to be a new parent, a new baby, a new house, and so they have those kind of stresses. And so with that, it can be overwhelming. And that age group is they tend to just not care about their appearance. So this is what I found. Now you've got the Gen Zs, okay? So their ages 6 through 24. They're your future, okay? Believe me, if you stay in Mary Kay long enough, like I have, they will, the little toddlers that were running around when you first started your business. Now they're calling you because they're taking care of their skin, they're wanting an opportunity. And so you stay the course. I mean, you always provide that good customer service and build those relationships, like Mary Kay always said. But the Gen Zs, they are broke. So that's why you don't want to build a whole bunch of Gen Zs, okay? Because they're broke most of the time. You know, will they like this opportunity? Yes, they will. But a lot of times they haven't developed their work ethic either, unless their parents just really pounded that home. So the Gen Zs are, their age is 1997. They were born in 1997 to 2015, and there's 68 million of them, okay? And then the Gen Ys, the millennials, they're known as the largest generation right now. They're 72 million, all right? So now, when you have, hold on, have an event amount, the customer base creates slow activity. So yeah, when you have you know, an even amount that's dispersed between all those generations, you are able to build a customer base where there's consistency. When you do that also with your team that you're building, same thing, you're able to build consistency so that when someone's distracted, you got your baby boomers working, you got your Gen Ys working or whatever. And so that's why it's so important to, you know, to not just stay in your lane. So here's something that I wanted to talk about. Some of the Gen Ys, they, by the year 2030, they stand to inherit $68 trillion from their baby boomer parents by the year 2030. So they will be the wealthiest generation, okay, in U.S. history. And so they're the largest, they're the wealthiest. And so you definitely want to get their attention with your product and with your business because they are going to have the money. They have the money to take care of themselves when they get, you know, their focus, when they get their focus down. So the baby boomers, I made some notes about how to find the baby boomers, and I'm going to let Marianne talk. So the baby boomers, ages 57 to 75, how I found some of the baby boomers is I used to always have, I would always promote a generational party where you had the daughter, the granddaughter, and the grandmother. And I would bring the 3 different skincare. I would bring the Botanicals, the Time Wise, and the Volufarm. And so that way I always met the grandmother and the daughter, or the granddaughter. So I may have already known the mom because that was my natural attraction, was the mom. That's who I am, and that's where I would kind of gravitate to. And so I would on purposely create a theme party called Generational Party, the Generation Party, and we would have the 3 different skincare. And so it was kind of, you know, at first it was kind of like, okay, you put this on, they were all doing something different, but I kind of got used to it. And so I built you know, I was really target marketing toward those 3 generations. And then I would say, honor your mother with a special Mother's Day gift. I would text all my customers and offer Mother's Day pampering sessions. And I would go to their mother and I would sit down and I would, you know, facial her and stuff like that. And so Mother's Day is coming up, and look through your customer base. You can do the same for your daughter, for the daughters. If the mother has a younger daughter that's just having kids, maybe she's a millennial YB, okay? She's at that stage where she's starting her family. You just spin on a dime. A great leader can spin on a dime, and you can create something that is going to generate excitement in your customer base. That's going to generate activity, and when you have activity, you get results. Okay. So senior centers have lots of activities for the baby boomers. I mean, because they're very active. They are very, very active. And I've done lots of senior centers where I come in and they're just having a spa day for all the women. And I go in and I do a skincare class. Then I've done glamour gone in and taught them how to do glamour for their age and their eyes. Your eyes change when you're aging. Those are, look around. You've got to be able to think outside the box and make those phone calls. Pick up that phone and look up all the senior centers and look for, and talk to their activity coordinator and just say, hey, I'm Michelle with Mary Kay, and I have done this a couple of times in this town, and was wondering if you guys have any activities. Now everybody's getting vaccinated. So, last year we couldn't have done this, but now you can. Everybody's getting vaccinated. Everybody's going to be wanting to be social again. Maybe book it for June and July when, everybody, all that age group, the boomers have gotten their vaccinations. So, make those phone calls. Craft fairs. Oh my gosh, I have met so many great baby boomer customers at craft fairs or my festivals that I do with my little booth. They love those things. They flock to them and they come to your table. They're so nice. They want, they talk. I love, love, love the baby boomers. Okay. And then, like I said, the generational parties. So you can, so that's how you meet a baby boomer. Gen X, here's how the Gen X, that's the 41 through 56. Those are, the moms are starting to be, some of them might be empty nesters, okay? Fundraiser packets with their daughters. So this last year that I did the cheerleading fundraiser was my most successful, okay? I think, and I don't know, I have to think this through, but I don't know why it was so successful, but I had more customers, new customers that I got through this fundraiser at the school, through the cheerleaders. I've had more reorders and more repeat customers, and I was able to sit down and meet more customers than ever before. And so the fundraiser packet, it was always successful, but it wasn't something that I got the residual from. Okay. It was like one and done, and then they would order next year. But now I'm starting to develop like customers from this. And so, you just stay on the horse as long as it's not dead. You just keep beating it until it, as long as it keeps going. So you do the fundraiser packets for cheer teams, dance teams. They're starting to have tryouts right now, and call the schools and see if they want a 50% fundraiser. I do that, believe it or not, because I wanted that residual. I wanted that reorder business, those new customers, because I knew I'd make up my money. You can do less, but you get so many customers. All right, so dance teams, office of the week, okay? If you're off on Friday, if you have a regular job, or you're off on Monday, whatever, or even your lunch breaks, pick an office, take some samples, take some books, take some gift certificates, and drop it off. Target market, okay? You go and you've got to get your name out there. And so those are the women that are working. That 41 through 56, they're not home with their kids. Their kids are in school full time, so they pretty much left the home, went and got a job. They have money. They have a lot of money, and they have to look good. But they're the ones that also get distracted during summer and Christmas, okay, and spring break. But that's okay, because you are getting everybody else in line to be consistent. All right, so Gen Y, 26 through 40, okay. I didn't set out, like I said before, I didn't set out to target this age because I totally felt disconnected from them, but it did happen organically for me. And so I think if you target the baby boomers and you target the Gen Ys, if you were like me and you're like, oh my God, I just don't know if I can, then it will happen organically. And ultimately, God's always going to send you who you're supposed to be in front of. Ultimately, the Gen Zs, believe it or not, I have a lot of Gen Z customers because of the cheerleading fundraiser, and I facial a lot of them. And so that's how that's your future, is that fundraiser, that dance team, those cheerleaders. And so you offer free prom makeover. So if you find a school that's gonna, little private schools are fun. I mean, they're a family and you get to know them and they will be loyal to you. But offer free prom makeovers to those, to the girls and the cheerleaders and the dance teams, and start building that Gen Z customer base, because 5 years from now, they're the college age. They're the ones that want extra money. You just don't know. So you don't ever write anybody off, ever, ever, ever. You can also do. I'm about to schedule a 12-year-old girls' birthday parties. I'm going to take goodie bags. I'm going to do age appropriate skincare. You know what? That's Gen Z right there. And so I literally, like I said, I work in every area, really trying to build that so that my business will outlast me. Okay. I want to be able to turn my business over to Mary Beth one day, and there still be customers there. Okay. And if you have a daughter that, loves what you do, you can do the same if you follow a plan like this where you're just not staying in your lane. Okay. And you're going to get out of your lane and you're going to focus on all these different generations so that you have that consistency and that guaranteed paycheck. All right, Marianne, let's see. I'm going to turn it over to you. Hang on. Let me pin you. Pin video, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yay. Okay. There you go.
Okay, so I have lots of things I get to cross off my list because Michelle already mentioned it. And no, it's good. So you guys see, um, the way I work is because I did what she told me to do and it worked. So if you just do what she said, it's going to work. And so I want to ask a question. Think about, I got one kid that's still in diapers, and so he wears Loves. And so Loves, the company, or Pampers, who is their target market? Who are they targeting? They're targeting like babies and their moms. That's who they can sell to. Well, then you also have things like Depends and Poise, which is a similar product, but they have a different customer. Those are your older people who need that. Now, aren't you so glad that you have a product that can reach anybody and everybody? And so what Michelle was talking about, not discounting anybody, it's you have to target, we shape our business to reach all age groups. And that's what I absolutely love about it. It's so unlimited. And so I want to talk about, basically, I'll just put in different categories. And it was kind of hard because as I was thinking, everything was like mushy. It was like so many ideas were just flying and it was just so unlimited. Okay. So I'm going to try real hard not to be all over the place for you. I'm going to try and waffle brain this for you guys. So, for example, when I started, I was a working mom. I was a working woman. So where did I start? I started with my colleagues. I started asking everybody I worked with. And so then I also had friends in high school who were working. So I started asking those friends and offering them free facials. Then I started to do facial boxes because I needed to get more names and facial. And the first places I was putting them was tanning salons, nail salons, hair salons. And so people who need to look professional and look nice because they're working, they're going to get these things done and they have the money to spend on themselves and they care about taking care of themselves. Another part of that is skincare. I started asking some of our people from church. At the time, we had just gone to a new church and we also did a church plant. So I really didn't have a whole lot of relationships there yet. So that wasn't a big pull from me at the beginning. I also connected with my kids' friends' moms. I remember one of my team members we joined Girl Scouts, and a girl asked me, she was like, hey, I think I want to be on your Mary Kay team, because she'd always gotten her Mary Kay from her aunt who used to be a consultant. And so basically everywhere I go, and when I go out and about and do business, grocery shopping, there are women working. And so I talk to them and I ask them. So also another great way is through business networking groups. Someone called BNI. There's all kinds of networking groups that are out there that also have specific targets. And then for other moms that were close to my age, a MOPS group is amazing. Yes, MOPS. And so if you have moms of preschool age kids or toddlers, if you have those age group, join one and develop relationships and make friends with that. And if you don't, and even if you do or don't, you can also offer to do one of the presentations for a MOPS group. And Michelle always taught me, you got to talk to them early because they plan like way in advance. Like they set their calendar for the year. So you need to talk to them ASAP.
They plan it in July. I've totally forgot. I'm so glad you mentioned. So they start planning in July. So you guys get on that, and they have a nationwide website.
Yeah. And then been thinking about people who were in their 60s. So like I had a neighbor who was in her 60s. So I personally reached out to her. Then I thought about, okay, my mom, my mother-in-law, they were in their 50s and 60s. So I personally reached out to them. And then they have friends. And so I asked them to host parties. And so that's how I started branching out into my Volume Firm customers. Michelle said retirement community. And here's what I learned about the retirement community. Um, Developing relationships with them is that as they retired, they had all these plans, but their income is now smaller. And so it's like there was a big disconnect because I remember watching my dad and he'd always talk about these big plans, big plans. My screen is frozen on me. Michelle, am I frozen on you? I got a really funny face right now.
Yeah, you are frozen. There you are.
Okay. But I noticed because of that shrunk income, you couldn't do all those big plans. And watching that happen as an adult, it broke my heart. But what I loved is that I have this opportunity to give to retirees to make those dreams come true. And then also educate people that, hey, you got to do the math. You can't go live big life on a smaller income. Like, let's wake up, So that's kind of like my mission and my calling is to help equip and educate those who weren't taught how to plan correctly for retirement. So that's a big deal. Then college age people, one way that I have loved getting to know them is people that you already mentioned that when they get older. But also college fairs. Like they usually do one, like a big kickoff on college campuses in the fall when everybody comes back to school. And then also in the spring, they usually do like a spring fling. So that's where I've gotten customers. That's where I've gotten team members. So I love my college students because they wanted to work. They wanted to make extra money. So if they didn't have the money, they became team members a lot for me. And they got to know, they knew sorority people. So also targeting sororities to do charity events, to do makeovers, to do bonding times is amazing, amazing. And I especially love working with the sorority girls because of their level of maturity and social skills and planning and all that. Like they're great quality, if you pick the right one. So that's always a win there. Then other things, I think variety is the vendor events, like baby expos, wedding expos, fairs are huge. And then of course, churches, if you're a part of a church community, you can look for those people, be intentional. So the big thing with diversity is it takes intentionality. As a human race, we naturally just gravitate to sameness. It's like the natural safe lane. And so me personally, I am always looking for diversity and making connections with a variety of people because I know we're better together. My life is richer to have a variety of experiences and that other people know things that I don't. So I'm very intentional about that. So let's see. And then also targeting different professions. So like teachers, reaching out to them during spring break and summer when they're not working and they're not as busy and they're ready for some to kick back and relax. Reaching out to nurses during Nurses Appreciation Week. May is full of appreciation weeks. I don't know why everybody decided to do it in May. So just May's full. Okay. May is so full. And then let's see. Pageants. So besides, working on your special event makeup, you can also work with pageants. Even the little ones. I just had somebody reach out to me. They said, hey, my little girl's 4 and she's in a dance recital and their teachers gave us a long list of products that they said we need to wear for the recital. She's like, I'm not so sure about that. And she's like, and I'm going to be dancing with her too. And apparently I have to wear all this stuff too. So I need help on how to do all this. And so I'm going to work with her and I'm going to catch my screen and teach them the cheat sheet way of not how to waste all their money on all these products that they don't need because she's 4, So you have such a valuable service to help people in so many ways. Give moms confidence. So then started thinking, okay, if she's having this issue of not knowing how to do makeup for her 4-year-old, there's other moms. So my brain started going like, how can I do and market a moms teach your daughters, do makeup on little people. But then I was like, well, dads got to do it too because they're single dads or whatever. And so I was like, okay, parent clinic on doing makeup for little people for recitals. Recitals are coming up in May and June. Like, we got to do it fast. And so you have to think small to grow big. So yes, so sometimes you just have to focus on, how am I going to market to this one group? All right, now let me do it. And now let me get good at it. All right, I'm good at that. Now let me think on a different group. So we always talk about having multiple irons in the fire, 5 irons in the fire. So when you get those different irons in the fire, are they diverse groups of people and diverse ages of people? So that's just thinking. So you're working smart. I think those were the main things that Michelle didn't say.
I can't believe I forgot the baby expo. I forgot mops. Those are my go-tos. That was my life for so long. That's so funny. Marion, you did a great job. I see down at the chats, like Mo said Kaylee is trying out for cheerleading and the meeting is this week. So, all right, Mo, that's your in for the cheerleaders. That's so exciting. And then Erica said that Tegan has experienced the same thing with the makeup. That is crazy. That I had never heard that. So
I think it's just with the access to so many makeup tutorials now that
yeah.
the teachers and the coaches know more, and they want to look great. So Madeline, she was in Winter Guard and they had to wear face masks, and the judges are at the top of the gym, they're way down there on the floor, and the big thing is they're twirling flags. And her coach kept focusing on their smoky eye, and like Madeline kept going, like freaking out about this smoky. I'm like, nobody can see your face, Madeline. Honestly, they don't care about your face right now. They just care about your stinking flag. I don't know what she's talking about. So I get it. And so yeah, I mean, in talking about fundraisers and stuff, they did one fundraiser where they sold pies for $11 and the kids were getting to keep $1 out of the whole sale. And then they did a plant sale, and like the profit was about 17%. And so yeah, so I connected with that lady. I was like, I will give you 50%.
Yes.
Let's go.
Yeah. Because you'll get it back. You'll get it back.
Yeah.
All right. So guys, do you have any questions? Let me put us on gallery view. Does anybody have any questions about some of the ideas that we gave you and some of the facts? Does it help you? Does it make sense? Yes. Everybody looks tired. Christina, have you been standing the whole time? At first I thought it was a still shot that she was just hiding.
She's a model.
Yes, she's so sweet. All right, no questions? You guys are so quiet. All right, I'm going to turn off recording and